This week's episode was brought to you by Paul. Thank you, Paul. It's with the generous support of listeners like you that our intrepid band of bunnies continues to sail the high seas of strangeness in superb style, decoding the digital deluge of data didactically, demystifying drivel and dazzling dimensional divers with dank doobies. If you'd like to take a dimensional doobie dive with us or just hear the second half of this episode, then please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your monthly donation of just $5 will not only get you the second half of this particular episode, it will get you access to the second half of our entire library of particular episodes, which are pleasantly playable from right within your Spotify app after logging into your Patreon and linking the accounts. Definitely the most convenient way to browse our 7 years of weird esoteric content. But not only that, my friend, no, I'll send you a 5x5 high-quality vinyl sticker of the Big Bunny Baphomet cover art at no additional cost, along with the secret keys to our Discord server, which is a portal to our secret society of listeners and collaborators with whom we ardently work to strive to take over the world. If you're enjoying The Whole Rabbit but would rather save your $5 for a USB drive in the shape of a turtle, then please consider giving us a like, subscribe, or share in your social media platform. That's our favorite way to get new listeners, because we don't advertise. It's not that we don't want to, it's because it would reveal the secret location of the rabbit base. Also, our thoughts are illegal. In this week's episode, we explore the many classical superstitions of sailors from all times and places. In the first half of the show, we discuss cursed fruit, taunting the wind, the dangers of women, the rich cultural origins of the Klabautermann, and the devilish inspiration for Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's actually not Vlad the Impaler, go figure. In the extended underside of the episode, we continue the discussion with Jonah's, the power of specific tattoos, traditional Greek water wenches, and how to beguile the courteous Japanese sea giants. Thank you, and enjoy the show. Where do pirates get their hooks?
Where?
Hookers.
That's a good guess. All right, they get it at the second-hand store.
I like that one.
What does
Whoa.
every pirate strongly dislike? Hate is a strong word.
A bath.
What?
Clocks.
Also good answers. A small chest with no booty.
Oh,
Well, that's true, dude. Everyone knows that, man.
I'm out.
Alright, matey, walk the plank. That planky be boobies.
Peak flatness. Why did the shark eat a pineapple before attacking the sailor?
Why?
So his cum tasted better.
That's the
Oh,
correct answer,
oh.
actually.
So the semen tasted better.
That's how you need to word it. That's actually, between the two of you,
Whoops.
you figured it out. Because pineapple makes semen taste better. Get it? That's actually how you say it in German. Seaman.
Alright, if you're still listening to the show, we salute you.
This is a good one. What does a sailor have for breakfast?
What?
Boat meal.
Nah.
Boat meal?
Boat meal.
Yeah.
That,
when
no.
Yep.
No.
When is
No.
a sailor made of wood?
When?
When he's aboard.
Okay, that
I
one's
like
alright.
that one.
You make up for your past mistakes.
That was pretty good.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Whole Rabbit, where we don't just get all deep and philosophical about the meaning of life and how to get the most out of it. Nay, sometimes we just want to survive the howling horrors which slither in the deep, the ever-present threat of being drowned by a storm, or being whipped savagely like a naughty scallywag, because this week we're exploring the litany of superstitions that a mariner must obey if they want to sail the seven seas.
Wait, did you say howling horrors or howling horrors? Because if we're talking about pirate stuff, this is only going to go one way.
It's both.
I'm your host, Luke Madrid, also known as the Hack Rabbit. I'm joined this week by our co-host, the dutiful doggy, Mari-sama.
Ahoy, me salty sea dogs. Arroo!
The pirate with all the papyrus, Heka Astra.
Hello.
And the Templar with an eye patch who says, "Ahoy, matey," a lot, Tim Hacker. Welcome.
Yo ho, I say ho, a pirate's life for me.
More like Tim Clanker.
Tim Wanker. What?
I don't think you could be a robot pirate.
Why not?
Think about it.
In the future,
Are you racist against robots? What the
They rust.
yes.
There's no internet out there.
robophobe?
Dude, kill all clankers.
Oh! What?
Bro, I would rather give my loosh to the reptilians than allow robots to kill me.
We get it. You're robophobic. Just let us take over everything. It'll be easy. Everything will be easier.
Mm-mm.
You could be turned into like
Nope.
mush that's food for everybody else in your pathetic little human colony of stench, filth, and disgusting piggishness.
Whoa there.
I was gonna say,
Oh,
Tim
sorry.
is possessed.
I have been waiting to do this episode for over a year. And one thing I love about researching sailors, pirates, etc., they do seem to live in an alternative universe.
They're like the Roma of the ocean.
Yes, like there's life on the ocean, which has its own rules.
Maritime law. International waters. You're not in a country.
They're the connective fabric between different civilizations. They live in like their own universe that's governed by its own rules. And along with those rules come a whole litany of superstitions. And you can laugh at them, but I don't think that's wise. I think if you are a sailor today, you probably still follow a bunch of superstitions. And I don't think that makes them stupid or weak-minded. I think that makes them wise.
There's also the belief that if you do go out on a vessel, you must obey the captain's law on the ship. And that usually includes folklore and various superstitious traditions and activities.
Yes. On the one hand, being out on the high seas sounds like the ultimate adventure. You are pushed right up against nature and the elements. You're working on a team. And if you mess up even slightly, you are going to be whipped and beaten. There are a lot of rules you have to follow as a sailor. It's a hard life. And in many cases, it sounds like any time you set foot on a boat, there's a chance that you could lose everything. And only after a prolonged duration of profound suffering and torture. Does that make sense?
Hey, dude, you ever heard about rogue waves? Like, even in modern times, there's stuff called rogue waves that'll just mile-high waves randomly out of nowhere, just take everything out in its path.
And there's islands that have probably still never been explored entirely. In some cases, maybe they've never been found. And you could imagine, back in the day, you're on the edge of reality itself. You're on the edge of the fantastic. You're seeing things that people on land can hardly dream of. While researching, I got the distinct impression being on the seas in a boat is inherently magical and adventurous, and you're going to be putting yourself on the edge of chaos, and it's on the edge of chaos where all magic happens, where mythology goes from being a story to being real, and where you might die.
The archetype of the pirate or even the cowboy, the unofficial sheriff type person. It's like these things also translate to sci-fi and cyberpunk framing. It's not just about the ocean. The ocean can be like contextual, like the ocean of information or the ocean of space or something like that. I like these superstitions because they could apply to other permutations of the same trope in a different space-time.
It's also the liminal space of ultimate liminal spaces.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if any of you have been far enough out on the ocean where you don't see any land in any direction.
Dude, I get scared pretty quick.
So you guys have? It's really strange, right?
Yeah.
Because it feels very much like the only company you have is a vast unknown and your crew or fellow passengers, which can be really scary for people. And it seems to me like the life of a sailor is your life is perpetually crossing the abyss back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah, and everybody's stinky as
But that's also why the rules of the ship are so stern and ruthless, because you cannot screw up. Everyone's lives are at stake, and if you make one mistake because you're lazy, it's going to want to kick your ass on that ship.
Or if you're just uninformed, because when it's like that, if you don't know, if you're not trained, there's no way to have orientation when you're out there.
What do you mean?
Disorientation, like when you're drowning and you can't tell which way is up or where to swim.
Not even...
It's the feeling of the unknown or being in the void. It's like if you lose your brothers on the boat, you're dead.
Not just
That's it.
that. it's not just that. If it's noon, for example, and you don't have a compass or you don't have any way to tell even what time it is, maybe it's a cloudy day, how do you know where you're going?
Yeah, I think the Backrooms, the film, it taps into that existential horror. And I guess what I'm getting at is Lovecraftian horror is the proper domain of the sailor. And the superstitions that we're going to be talking about today tap directly into that.
Yeah, it's like pursuing the unknown, even though it's dangerous or you might be afraid. But for some reason, like you mentioned Backrooms, like Clark pushes forward. If you saw that in your basement, I would be like piling shit in front of it, okay? I would not go in there.
Dude, I could see you hella going in there, though.
No, and he like goes in there, he's like mapping it. He's like, I've been up for 4 days and I haven't drank anything. And I'm like, dude, you need to calm down and like blow up your store.
Can you imagine how disorienting it would be to be in the way out there in the ocean and then a storm happens? You don't know which way is which. You don't know if you're going to make it through it. You're banking on the fact that everyone else on your crew is also not going to up. So
I can't even think about it.
Of course they're going to be like, well, obviously this works. When we did this thing, this had good luck. We had good results. And so it's ripe for making superstitions, whether they're based on things that actually work or based on energetic buildup. Like this thing
Everybody
worked.
do the thing!
This thing worked before. It was really good luck. So we're going to continue to do that. And or alternatively, every time this thing happened, disaster struck. So we're going to avoid doing that.
And you know, I'm sure sailors saw gorillas hundreds of years before they moved from the category of cryptid to actual science. And then it was only a few decades ago we figured out giant squid were even real. They saw this stuff. You know what I mean? They saw the stuff of myth.
They saw the horrors.
And in some cases, we may never know the things that they did see. I mean, we're still learning about crazy stuff in the oceans. Let's get started. So, perhaps the most well-known superstition of the sea, and a fitting place to begin our discussion of such superstitions, would be the myth of the Flying Dutchman, a dreaded ghost ship observed by sailors for hundreds of years, appearing often as a glimpse between flashes of lightning or riding the crest of a wave before disappearing once again, with the sailor unlucky enough to have first seen the vessel, now believed doomed. So if you're like the first guy that sees the Flying Dutchman, you probably gonna die.
Oh.
It's a little bit like UFO lore. You don't want to be the guy that's telling other people you saw the weird thing, because it's not going to do you any favors. So the earliest and most well-known telling of the Flying Dutchman comes from 1832, Sciences de la Vie Maritime, a 3-volume collection of maritime sketches, scenes, and sailor lore by Auguste Jau, a 19th century French naval historian, archivist, and formal cadet, who rose to become the official historiographer of the French Marine and later conservator of its archives. So kind of a big deal.
Love it. Love his name. So far, like, home run.
So Jal documented both real seafaring life and popular traditions, with the Flying Dutchman tale appearing in volume 2 as one story told by an old master-at-arms to a wide-eyed group of novices who had just come aboard his ship, framing the cursed captain as, quote, the wandering Jew of the sea.
Oh, God.
You can't say that.
In the words of the master-at-arms.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's you.
An unbelieving Dutch captain had vainly tried to round Cape Horn against a head gale. He swore he would do it, and when the gale increased, he laughed at the fears of his crew and drank his beer. He threw overboard some of them who tried to make him put into port. The Holy Ghost descended on the vessel, but he fired his pistol at it and pierced his own hand and paralyzed his arm. He cursed God, and was then condemned by the apparition to navigate always without putting into port, only having gall to drink and red-hot iron to eat, and eternally to watch. He was to be the evil genius of the sea, to torment and punish sailors, the sight of his storm-tossed bark to carry ill fortune to the luckless beholder. He sends white squalls, all disasters, and tempests. Should he visit a ship, wine sours and all food becomes beans.
What?
Noise.
The sailor's bete noir.
That must be like his bane. Sailors must hate
Yeah.
beans.
I guess. I like beans, but
Yeah,
yeah,
you're in a
they're...
close area. You're all on bunk beds. You fucking fart right in front of like some dude under you. It goes right in their fucking mouth. Of course.
Okay,
Okay.
so I guess it means beast. So black beast.
Wow. Should he bring or send letters? None must touch them, or they are lost. He changes his mane at will, and is seldom seen twice under the same circumstances. His crew are all old sinners of the sea, sailor thieves, cowards, murderers, and such. They eternally toil and suffer, and have little to eat or drink. His ship is the true purgatory of the faithless and idle mariner.
Damn, bitch.
So that's like hell for a sailor, basically.
It sounds like he's the devil of the sea.
But I like beans, so I might like it there. I don't know.
It's
No.
funny we keep coming back to this association between evil and beans. So apparently this is also true for sailors, but it sounds like just because they're sick of eating them.
What about Pythagoras, dude? Okay, different combo.
Well, you probably also have enough to worry about with digestion on
Yeah.
the ship as it is. And then you throw beans in the mix, you're probably like, no.
And then this same master at arms relates the Flying Dutchman to this myth of, quote, the wandering Jew. And I'm unfamiliar with this myth.
Oh yeah, Jesus hella cursed the shit out of that dude. It's sick.
Well, what's the story? I'm pulling up the Wikipedia now. It says here there was a Jew who taunted Jesus on the way to the crucifixion.
You dumb bastard.
And in consequence, he was cursed to walk the earth until the second coming.
Yeah, his curse was becoming immortal. Does that sound like a curse to you? Yeah, you gotta like think about it a while and then it becomes a curse.
We should do a whole episode on this. According to Lieutenant Fletcher S. Bassett's 1885 work, Legends and Superstitions of the Sea and of Sailors in All Lands and at All Times, our primary source for this episode and a book you should read, contemporary accounts claimed that the Flying Dutchman's captain was actually inspired by a real individual. This individual was Baron Falk, a 17th century captain for the Dutch East India Company from Terschelling, an island in the northern Netherlands.
Dude, what a cool name, dude. What the hell? That's awesome.
That was my grandpa's.
Is it? Was your grandpa?
Berend.
That's it. Falk. He was born in 1635. He's a real person.
Wow, this is like the OG.
Apparently, this guy was like Han Solo. He was renowned for record fast passages.
What about the Kessel Run?
For example, sailing between the Netherlands and Jakarta in less than 90 days versus the typical 6 to 8 months. This was the Kessel Run, apparently. Now, he was likely aided by practical innovations.
Okay, you had my interest. Now you have my attention.
Apparently, he had iron reinforcement or stays on his masts, allowing him to carry full sail in gales when others would reef, basically.
Sweet.
So, due to this, rumors spread that he was a sorcerer in league with the devil for such speed. Or that he casts his masts with iron. And he is widely thought to have disappeared at sea, although some accounts claim he was buried in Amsterdam in the early 1700s.
Weak.
Well, this is fitting for a devil archetype. Even the great beast Aleister Crowley was a renowned mountain climber because he'd shacked up with the guy who invented crampons. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
when somebody gets like
What's
full
a crampon?
use, like the clawed feet, like hooked feet that you climb with, like cleats, but for climbing mountains.
Got it.
Nobody had thought to do that until this guy came along and just happened to be Aleister Crowley's like best buddy and mentor. So this is like that. This guy had some technical innovation that made him a wizard.
That's pretty badass.
Now, some variations of the myth include hope that, in one way or another, the Flying Dutchman could be redeemed. In one telling, good and evil spirits play dice for the captain's soul aboard the spectral ship. In Mariette's telling, a sun sails the world to return a fragment of the true cross to break the curse. So he has to actually go find wood from Christ's cross to save his dad. Then, in
As one does.
Yes. Speaking of which, in Wagner's opera, every 7 years, the captain may land and seek a woman whose faithful love will redeem him. Turns out, can you guess what story this inspired?
Dun, 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 dun. The
Beverly Hills
Pirates of the,
Ninja.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, Beverly Hills Ninja, starring Chris Farley.
Yes and yes.
Well, Lottie frickin' da!
Both true. However, this is the original inspiration for Dracula when you pair it with Vlad the Impaler.
Whoa.
Dude,
What?
I was going to bring up Dracula earlier on. I was like, this sounds a little bit like that.
You're dead on. You're right. Because Vlad doesn't curse God. The Flying Dutchman does. Like, the Holy Spirit comes to him and he, like, shoots at it. Like, that's the Dracula story. And then the whole bit about the trading company and the ocean and coming to shore and having a lover. That's classic Flying Dutchman sailor mythology.
That's crazy, dude.
That being said, it would be tempting to assume the Flying Dutchman was nothing but a sailor's overactive imagination, tempered by isolation and endless toil. However, a number of well-documented sightings do exist. One prominent sighting comes from the HMS Bacchante off of Australia en route to Melbourne to Sydney, July 11th, 1881. This account comes from the private journals of Prince George of Wales, the future King George V. He was then a 14 to 15-year-old midshipman. It goes,
Midshipman or midget?
Both.
At 4 a.m., the Flying Dutchman crossed our bows, a strange red light, as of a phantom ship all aglow, in the midst of which light the masts, spars, and sails of a brig 200 yards distant stood out in strong relief as she came up on the port bow. The lookout man on the forecastle reported her as close on the port bow, where also the officer of the watch from the bridge clearly saw her, as did also the quarterdeck midshipman. But on arriving there, no vestige nor any sign whatever of any material ship was to be seen, night being clear and sea calm. 13 persons altogether saw her. The Tourmaline and Cleopatra flashed to ask whether we had seen the strange red light, which were probably other ships.
It's so a freaking ghost ship with red lights. And then you've got other ships that are like, did you see that ship? So that's a legit sighting.
Yeah, dude.
And then true to the myth, the seaman who first saw it, he fell.
Perished horribly.
Yeah, he fell from the mast and was killed. He's buried at sea that afternoon. The Flying Dutchman endures in literature through Sir Walter Scott's poem in Canto 2 of Rokeby, singing,
Quote, or of that phantom ship whose form shoots like a meteor through the storm when the dark scud comes driving hard, and lowered is every topsail yard. The demon frigate braves the gale, and well the doomed spectators know the harbinger of wreck and woe.
That's pretty tight.
Prior to this research, my familiarity with the Flying Dutchman was limited to In-N-Out Burger, where if you order a Flying Dutchman, you get 2 pieces of meat with a slice of cheese in the middle. This is oftentimes ordered as an onion Flying Dutchman, which is the same thing, but you have 2 slices of caramelized onion as the bun.
I want that.
Yeah, dude, don't forget animal style.
Can you get an animal-style onion Flying Dutchman?
Probably.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you probably could.
Oh my god. I want to try that.
Yeah, but like, okay, I never thought about In-N-Out Burger because we don't have them. What we
Yeah,
think
because you're a
about over
barbarian.
Shut up. But like, what we think about over here is the Flying Dutchman character from the SpongeBob show.
Oh.
It's like he's a ghost. Like, it's not a burger. He's just a ghost.
Throughout my research, I became aware that rounding Cape Horn is kind of a big deal.
Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, it's a big jutting of rock out into the ocean, and apparently getting a boat around it is a real pain in the ass.
It's like a horn.
Yeah, I'm not a sailor, but apparently it's like, what would be the equivalent? Like parallel
It's the
parking
hor-
in New York
it's-
City
it's
or
the-
something?
It's the Horn of Africa, right? Or is it the Horn of South America? A horn is a rocky
Piquing my
peninsula
interest.
that juts out, but it's usually like continental size. So it's like
Right.
cliffs and shit.
I love cliffs and shit. How did you know?
Yeah, there's a club dedicated to people who've rounded Cape Horn. It's the southernmost headland of Tierra del Fuego, archipelago
that's-
of southern Chile. So I think it's...
Yeah, South America.
So you're going through the underworld, basically. Like, you're going as far south as a boat is expected to go, basically.
Yep.
Got it.
I bet it's rocky and has like a lot of wind shifts in that area. Probably
It does.
sucks. Yeah.
Well, it's also historically like, oh, you had to go the long way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not just a pain in the ass. It's like going around the world. Well, that makes sense. Had anyone ever thought perhaps he was just carrying bananas on board?
Huh?
Is that bad luck?
Well,
They're good to eat.
If you have too many of them, they make you go poop. Right?
Nice.
they do.
Beans.
Dehydrating.
I bet something to do with digestive problems.
I like the theme of this episode of like beans and farts and stuff.
Beans and bananas.
Bananas on deck! This one seems kind of wacky, but yeah, it's a thing. In the 1700s, an unusual phenomenon began to emerge in the Caribbean trade. Ships that carried bananas started to increasingly vanish or sink while out about to do trading stuff from place to place. This slowly started to make sailors begin to associate bananas with disaster itself. If you had bananas on board, you were more likely to vanish or become food for the fishes. At least that's what common superstition held. But why?
It's because they're banarnars.
It's because bananas kind of sucked to carry around during trade stuff on the ocean. Firstly, bananas ripen so quickly that traders demanded ships move fast, sometimes too fast, leading to wrecks and bad weather. Because, you know, greedy people are greedy and they say go faster, and they go fast and die. Sailors saw this as proof that bananas brought bad luck. But they also attract bugs and stinkiness, and we already got beans and farts all the time on these ships like we've already been talking about.
Also, the banana spiders are really bad.
Yeah, they're fucking crazy looking. And even though like ships back then already were insanely gross and would like melt the face of a modern person, like that guy in Indiana Jones and the Lost Ark, that being said, that many rotten bananas was simply too much, even for them. There was also practical dangers for transporting bananas in bulk on the ocean doing trade stuff. They damage other stuff in the ship. As bananas ripen, they emit ethylene gas, which in the days of wooden ships caused cargo to spoil faster than it normally would. Now, these people not being modern like us, they most likely just thought it was devil spirits coming from bananas doing this.
It is.
Obviously, right, dude? So there were bad omens surrounding bananas on ships in more ways than one.
This is why a lot of people use those like metal hooks to hang bananas from so that it doesn't touch other fruit because it will make the other fruit ripen faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it increases entropy all around it.
Have you ever brought a banana with you for lunch?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. I hate bananas.
Why does it suck?
Because bananas suck. I hate them.
It makes everything smell like banana too. And then by the time you eat it, if it's hit anything, it's all like mushy and nasty. Or you could be like one of those people that has the weird banana protector thing, but then you still can't get away from the stink.
No, you have to take the banana in a separate container. Otherwise, everything in your lunch is now banana flavored.
Yes.
Yeah, but banana taffy is pretty sick, dude.
It's true.
Also, banana shipments often had spiders, snakes, and other biting insects from the tropics hidden inside them that escaped to attack the crew. These were all exotic as hell and poisonous.
There was a report maybe 6 months ago or something like that of a banana spider making its way into Canada.
Yeah, man.
Some lady
And
found it.
they crawl up your nose.
Well, yeah, they could be pretty serious business, as Heka says, even today. A boat full of bananas, if they were not treated with pesticides,
They weren't. This is the ancient times of trade stuff.
it brought the threat of the Brazilian wandering spider. Now, these large wandering hunters, often called banana spiders in Brazil, naturally shelter in the moist, dark spaces between banana stalks. They readily stow away when bunches are cut and packaged. While some media reports exaggerate identifications, banana spiders are still found in shipments today. Now, their venom contains specific compounds, one of which is PNTX2-6, which can induce priapism, a prolonged and painful erection in male bite victims, and it does this by affecting nitrous oxide pathways.
It sounds fun until it isn't.
It's like if you overdosed on dick pills and you had like a wickedly painful erection.
Oh.
It's rarely fatal, but sometimes it is fatal. You can die of this erection. So you could imagine if a sailor got bit by one of these things. Imagine finding your dead buddy on a pile of bananas with a raging boner.
Party time.
So when the bananas ferment and they put off ethylene alcohol vapors, there is also a risk of combustion on the ship, which is very real, especially if you have a wooden ship with a whole bunch of lanterns.
Bananas is cursed.
Like if your boat blows up and sinks, you know they're going to find the bananas floating and nothing else.
And all the spiders, I don't think we're
Can
doing
you
it.
imagine you manage to find like a piece of wood and it's like crawling with banana spiders? It's
That's
like the
Oh.
one piece of wood that you can latch onto and it's just like you're fighting banana spiders.
Oh, God.
So fishing boats also began to hate bananas and look at them as a bad omen. Among fishermen, bananas became notorious because boats carrying them supposedly also never caught any fish. And maybe it was the smell of bananas that clung to the fishing gear and repelled fish. But bananas' rapid spoilage, it does spread. And it spreads to bait or provisions. So it makes other stuff rot faster than normal, right? Same is true whatever you're using for bait.
Dude, not only that, but like even your good shit, like the oatmeal that was
Yeah.
mentioned in the jokes, like that would taste, you know, like when you bring a banana in your lunch bag and then everything tastes like bananas, your oatmeal will just taste like bananas.
I
All right,
mean,
so basically, fuck bananas.
Yeah.
And you can see how basically the curse of bananas is going to be immediately put onto anytime you have some bad catches.
Yeah, dude, bananas are dicks.
So by the 19th century, the belief spread from merchant sailors to small fishing boats, where it remains strongest today, particularly in Florida, Hawaii, and the Gulf. Even now, charter captains will ask passengers not to bring bananas, sometimes banning banana patterned t-shirts, tackle, or sunscreen brands with bananas on the label.
Yep.
That seems a little silly, but they hate
Got
bananas.
too much bulge in that pants? Yeah.
They hate the bananas, and even the symbol of a banana can be bad luck.
During my research, I found out that captains in the U.S. Coast Guard, Navy, and sport fishing charters still strictly prohibit them.
Hell yeah.
Some fishermen even perform rituals of throwing bananas overboard or spitting on them before discarding them in order to break the curse. This belief spread globally, and it still survives today as one of the most persistent maritime taboos.
All right, now to talk about our next superstition.
Whistling.
So the background of the whistling superstition is pretty direct. When you're at the mercy of the open ocean, wind equals survival. So a lack of wind means becoming stranded, whereas an excess of it can also prove fatal to everyone on board. Consequently, mariners developed a profound respect and dread for the wind. Call that a healthy fear. So viewing it as a living force with which they could actively interact is probably a good approach. Whistling is considered an ill omen primarily because it simulates the sound of wind. To a superstitious crew, a whistling sailor sounded exactly like a gathering gale, threatening to anger the wind spirits into unleashing a vengeful storm. It draws a parallel to certain occult traditions as well, where blowing out a candle is seen as an insult to the element of fire. Beyond the spiritual aspect, there was a micromanagement angle to it. Whistling was frequently linked to slacking off or being distracted. It essentially showed that a sailor was idling on company time. The logic dictated that if you had the leisure to whistle, you weren't focused on your duties, logical or not.
If you got time to lead, you got time to clean.
Lazy
Sort of-
bastards.
So to make matters worse, if a sailor happened to whistle right before the weather took a turn for the worse, they were absolutely going to face retribution. Scapegoating was incredibly common among superstitious seafaring crews, making it far simpler to just outlaw whistling entirely. Also, if you know your crew's superstitious and you whistle, you kind of have to also know that there's a high chance of being thrown overboard.
If you got time to whistle, then grab the bissel.
What's a bissel?
A vacuum.
So there was also the belief that the ocean was inhabited by spirits of the sea and deities within many cultures across the world throughout history, and whistling was disrespectful, almost like mocking them. This is basically angering the spirits, which could mean storms or shipwrecks. In parts of Europe during the medieval age, whistling was believed to summon evil entities. At the sea, the devil was often blamed for shipwrecks or just bad stuff going down in general, and whistling invited the devil himself to board the ship.
Oh, shit.
The phrase whistling up the wind comes directly from sailors' belief that whistling could literally conjure the wind. So interestingly, some captains did allow whistling when the air was calm and sailors hung limp, hoping...
Those were the Satanist captains, huh?
Yeah, it kind of makes sense though, because they're hoping the ritual might bring a breeze.
Hail Satan!
But in contrast, the bosun's whistle, this is bosun's pipe, was encouraged because it gave commands over the roar of the sea. They still use this today in the Navy. It's a tiny little pipe, a little metal pipe.
That's interesting.
I think this is an important detail.
So this shows the difference between ritualized or authorized whistling and casual whistling. By the 17th and 18th centuries, whistling for a wind appeared in sailors' logs and poems, and always with a sense of danger or futility. As far as cultural spread goes, the superstition was strongest among the British and Northern European seamen, but variants existed globally. Pirates and privateers were especially wary of whistling, and they tied it to bad luck and betrayal. And funnily enough, even today, some sailors still refuse to whistle at sea, or even just joke about it nervously, especially in rough weather.
Some speculate that the ban on whistling stems from an overlap with a possibly older superstition regarding a strange, nocturnal whistling heard from afar, which was believed to signal the approach of doom. Known as the Seven Whistlers, these high-pitched, distant sounds were frequently attributed to passing flocks of martins, swifts, plovers, or curlews. As a result, casual whistling by sailors might have been viewed as a dangerous invitation to these exact perilous spirits. And so, it sounds to me like a long time ago, sailors figured out that these seven whistlers were birds, but that didn't really stop them from being afraid of this whistling sound.
It makes sense to me.
And this is ancient. Now, strangely, the cook on the ship was sometimes spared the prohibition from whistling, as a whistling cook can't have his mouth full of stolen rations.
Also, if he whistles, the food will be happy.
It's that. It's not that he was eating the semi-sweet chocolate morsels that he was supposed to put in the crumpets or whatever they eat.
If you have an unhappy cook, you're probably going to have shittier food.
Women who whistled were viewed with special dread. The old rhyme, "A whistling woman and a crowing hen are neither fit for God nor man, was repeated at sea as well as ashore. Witches and wise women were believed to raise or sell winds. A woman's whistle carried the same dangerous resonance.
I just thought of something. So the cook is usually in the galley, and the galley is usually enclosed. It's an enclosed space. So the cook, if he's whistling while he's making stuff in the galley, he's probably not going to be out on the deck. So the whistling is kind of protected from the outside.
That could be part of it. So this association between whistling and women is quite profound. One 19th century captain at Scarborough refused passage to a young lady who whistled. When the ship was lost on the next voyage, they blamed it on her, that it was a sign. So I guess kicking her off the boat didn't help. They should have left her on the boat.
Okay, now time to talk about the next superstition of the sea, and the worst one, and the dreaded of most all, worstest Everest. Women!
Hey!
Oh no! They're bringing the women!
No, Hans! No! They take my Brussels sprouts. My nipples are so hard, Hans.
Let's go fishing. Bring your bananas.
This one is a little bit more well known. You've seen it most likely in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, but it was common superstition upon ships that women on board were super duper bad luck. Like, to the max. Worstest.
You take that back.
Women.
Yo, I'll tell you what I want.
It seems kind of obvious how the superstition formed, too. Like, at sea was harsh, cramped, and male-dominated. So super stinky and masculine. Just like you like it, listener. Women on board made dudes horny, and a lot of other stuff. So the male-dominated sailor stuff got discipline disrupted, leading to quarrels, jealousy, and divided loyalties. A distracted crew was a dangerous crew, and a dangerous crew made sailing dangerous. So while not provable, the idea that women on board brought bad luck was much more likely constructed by captains out of practicality as a source of control and not organically grown superstition. Makes sense.
Women are bad and unlucky. Get back to work.
However, other cultures looked at women on board differently. In some, the sea was personified as female. It is very wet, capricious, powerful, easily angered, constantly changing its mood. A woman on board could be seen as competition to the goddess of the sea. And you know how all women secretly hate each other.
Yeah. And we all know periods attract bears. If you think sailing sucks and it's stinky normally, just wait till you have a...
You gotta read that, dude.
No, I don't read this anymore.
We're trying to be supportive. It's really good.
We're allies for women.
I'm so insulted.
I heard periods attract bears.
Teehee, lol, more like sharks, you stupid bastards.
In Norse lore, sailors believed the goddess ran, dragged men to watery graves. In Greek tradition, the sea belonged to Poseidon, but it was populated with female spirits like nereids and sirens, dangerous, alluring, fatal. Medieval and early modern Christian sailors layered Eve's temptation onto these older fears. A woman's body was dangerous. It was a gateway to sin. Her presence invited divine punishment in the form of storm or wreck. A woman aboard was a temptation, and temptation invited God's punishment. So you also had to worry about God getting pissed off at them boobies.
Yet, the same culture that feared real women was the same that carved their images into the very bows of their ships, most often bare-breasted. There is a good reason that she's bare-breasted, which is why they had no business covering up her bare breasts in the new Assassin's Creed Resynced, which is a travesty against sailors everywhere. It is. They covered her boobs on the figurehead, but there's a reason for it. Now, according to Pliny the Elder, in his Natural History, 77 CE, he recorded this widely held belief that a naked woman, especially during her monthly courses, could drive away hailstorms, whirlwinds, lightning, and tempests. Out of the sea, he wrote, a storm may be lulled by a woman uncovering her body. The exposed female form was thought to shame or overpower the stormy sea itself. This is almost certainly the origin of the bare-breasted figurehead tradition on the boats, you know what I mean?
Nice.
So she became kind of like the mommy of her crew. Long story short, you know there was a number of guys who fell in love with the ship's figurehead because it was the only naked woman they'd see in months.
Yeah, well, also ships are typically called by feminine pronouns. It's like a personification or the human image of the spirit of the ship.
Yeah, dude. Not to mention that it's like the perfect girlfriend because she never talks.
You know what? That's going to come up next, actually. That actually comes up.
Mari, do you want to read the next two? Or
No,
Heka?
women
next two
shouldn't talk.
paragraphs? Fucking hilarious.
It's so funny.
I should have warned you that I was going to be completely ridiculous this episode. Completely
I
ridiculous
didn't
mindset.
choose to be a woman, okay?
Dude, boobies are the best. Just embrace.
Yes, I know. Shut the fuck up.
I know.
Stop
I'm
telling me to shut up. I have boobs and you don't.
Okay, you read the next two.
No.
Heka?
No, it's all you. You big manly man. You can do it all. You don't need no woman.
I'm with Mari.
What?
God damn it. I'm betrayed.
Read the script. Read the script.
In Greek and Roman tradition, women were mostly absent from long voyages, though priestesses sometimes traveled during sacred duties. In medieval and Renaissance Europe, strong taboos persisted. Pirates and merchants alike avoided women on deck. There was an exception, though. In northern mythology, women were sometimes cast as powerful navigators or protectors, hinting at the origin of the figurehead tradition. Valkyries, as sea heroines, for example, influenced later British culture in Europe, too.
Dude, I just realized that might have been where Heinlein got it.
In the 17th through 18th centuries, European navies were strictly male only, though pirates occasionally did welcome women. Figures like Anne Bonny and Mary Read became legendary precisely because they broke this taboo. And then there's China, where Zheng Yi Cao, a former prostitute, rose to command a vast pirate fleet of hundreds of ships in the early 19th century. One of the most successful pirate leaders in history, actually. And she negotiated her own retirement on favorable terms with the Chinese emperor.
Okay.
Sounds like a good anime.
Why does Netflix need to go retconning history when they could just make this show?
Yeah,
Because they want to take your toys, not share them.
Okay. But this would be a cool toy.
agree.
By the 19th century, the taboo weakened as women began traveling more frequently on passenger ships. Yet in fishing fleets and small cargo vessels, many captains still resisted bringing women aboard well into the 20th century. Even today, some older sailors mutter about women on boats being unlucky, though the figurehead tradition has long since become decorative rather than spiritual. Even when I was in Sea Cadets when I was younger, I still heard people talk about women being unlucky on board.
Really?
But also, the best of the sailing instructors were the women.
Nice. Figures head.
You know, I bet there is something to that. I bet women were the navigators back in the day. That's where it came from.
Next superstition of the sea.
The Klabautermann.
I'm happy to finally learn the origin of this next weird folklore creature. I've killed hundreds, maybe thousands of them in World of Warcraft, but I never, ever thought to look into their origin. Turns out there are two variants. Both are from the same part of the world, and likely, through language, became merged with each other. In traditional Germanic folklore, the Kobold, from Middle High German Kobold, likely from Kobe, meaning hut, stall, or cavity,
Kobe!
and Hold, gracious or friendly spirit, originally referred to a small domestic or household spirit, with records dating back to at least the 13th century. So imagine Calcifer from Howl's Moving Castle, okay?
Mm.
I had a cat named Kobe.
Really?
Sick.
These spirits were often considered invisible, appearing as tiny humanoids, animals, or other forms, being tied to a specific home, hearth, or stable. These were often considered invisible spirits, sometimes as humanoids, animals, or other forms, but usually tied to a specific home, hearth, or table, or stable. When these spirits were respected, often in the forms of giving milk, porridge, or small gifts, they acted as helpful helpers, performing nighttime chores like cleaning, tending to animals, or completing unfinished work.
Oh, so you just think that there's a little fairy that comes along and picks up after you?
Yes,
Only if you're nice to it.
Now, if insulted, neglected, or mistreated, they suddenly turn mischievous or vengeful, causing minor disruptions such as souring milk, breaking objects, making noises, or playing pranks.
You know this? It reminds me of the little spirits in the Baba Yaga story.
Yes. Well, it's related because they also believed in a spirit of the hearth. It usually lives in like your oven. Have you ever used an oven? You know what happens when you put a pan in the oven sometimes by itself? It'll just be like clang. You know what I mean? Because it's heating up and it's like moving and stuff. So be easy to attribute that to a spirit. It evolves though. So later on, mine kobolds, like the ones in World of Warcraft, they emerged as subterranean spirits associated with mining precious ore. These spirits, like their boat and household equivalents, are ambivalent. They might knock to warn of dangers, like a cave-in. They might lead lead a miner to ore, or they could cause mischief accidents or toxic issues. Stories of these were common in Germany by the 16th century, especially in the Ore Mountains. I didn't know there was such a place called the Ore Mountains. They exist in Saxony and Bohemia. These were intensive silver and metal mines which were active in the medieval to Renaissance eras. Can you imagine how miserable being a medieval silver miner would be? God, what a terrible job. Now, this association between kobolds and mines cemented around this time in the 16th century because frequently miners would encounter, quote, cursed ores. So these would be arsenic cobalt minerals that looked promising, but they yield no valuable metals, or they resisted smelting, or when you did smelt them, they produced a bunch of toxic fumes, which could kill you.
So Kobold is named after Kobold.
Yes.
So,
It makes sense. Like, imagine you're smelting something and then, like, your kidneys die forever after that. Like, that's not good.
but when you figure out how to smelt it properly, it makes the most beautiful blue glass.
Hey, whoever smelt it dealt it.
That's true. That's very true in this case. So these kind of merge together with the household spirits, but it turns out there's another evolution of the kobold. That's the one pertinent to our stories today. So by the time we arrive at boats, it becomes the Klabautermann, also of German folklore. Like its household variant, they tend to be cheerful, hardworking, and because fixing things around the house on a boat means the boat stays afloat, the Klabautermann keeps the vessel seaworthy. They helped with repairs, could even rescue men overboard. In fact, in some cases, it was lucky to carve his likeness or a charm that symbolized him on the ship's mast. I'm also going to make a strong wager. This is the idea of where the gremlin comes from, which is how this idea, I'm gonna guess, evolved during World War II into airplanes, where they do the same thing.
Did you say it goes on the mast?
You should carve a symbol of it or the likeness of it onto your mast for good luck.
Interesting. Because sometimes, too, instead of a naked woman at the front, sometimes you see like some kind of monster gremlin looking thing.
Yeah, so you would, I mean, ideally you would want both. You would want your ship's head and then like somewhere off, off to the side, you have like your little gremlin. That's your Klabautermann. As you might imagine, knowing how the Germans name stuff, Klabautermann likely comes from the sound of the banging and the clanging and the caulking that these spirits make. Now, there is a dark twist to the Klabautermann. Apparently, if anyone on the ship actually sees the Klabautermann, the ship is doomed. Just let you know.
Wait, so if you look at the carving, you're doomed?
No, the carving that's where you're allowed to look at him.
Okay,
but
so
but
if
you can't
see him manifest.
like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Kids don't see Santa Claus.
So if you see the Klabautermann manifest, you're doomed.
That's not good. That's bad.
Yeah.
It's just bad luck, dude.
Makes sense.
Now, it was particularly widespread to believe the Klabautermann belonged to the souls of the stillborn, the unbaptized, or even murdered children. If wood from a tree under which such a child was buried was used in shipbuilding, it was believed that the spirit of that child would enter into the vessel as a Klabautermann.
That's metal.
That's crazy.
That's highly specific.
I like it though. It's interesting too because the thought that bodies buried under plants, like the plants that grow on top of them, I believe like carry the essence of the soul of the person in it. So if you were to build something out of it, I guess you're haunted now.
Oh, man.
Or you have fairies.
Take everything we've learned about magic and the ancient mind just for a second. Okay, you're building a boat. What do you build the boat with? You build the boat with, I don't know, the wood from a sacred tree. Why is the tree sacred? Because, you know what I mean? Like, it would make sense that back in the day, they built like the really important boat with the really important tree that they buried the really important thing under, and then it's like, now that thing is the boat.
Makes sense.
Now, our 1850s source, Bassett, describes the kobold as a small man with large, fiery red head and green teeth.
Sounds like Beetlejuice's cousin.
Beetlejuice's German cousin.
Yeah.
Is that Beetlejuice?
Beetlejuicin.
Beetlejuicin? Sorry.
So the bit about going unseen apparently is not a hard and fast rule. One encounter is recorded in Karl Mühlenhof's 19th century collection of German folklore.
On a ship at sea, the captain rang for the ship's boy. "Bring me a bottle of wine and 2 glasses, boy."
2 glasses, Captain.
The boy asked in surprise.
You're alone. Whom do you have as a guest?
The captain ordered him to do as he was told, and when the boy returned with the bottle and glasses, the ship's spirit, the Klabautermann, was sitting with the captain. They spoke together. The captain poured and they drank. As long as such a ship's spirit remains aboard and on good terms with the crew, true. The ship does not sink, and every voyage succeeds. If it leaves, things go badly.
Damn, dude, you're good at those accents, yo.
Does this mean that the little boy that saw the Klabautermann was doomed?
Yeah, he's gonna die,
Yeah,
like, immediately after this. He's like,
That was something really weird to see.
and he, like, slips and falls off the side of the ship and drowns, and no one hears him because everyone's asleep.
He's like slightly impaled on the way down and like his guts come out.
And then someone throws a banana on his head.
And the banana spider goes in his eyeball and lays eggs.
That being said, not every ship had a Klabautermann, but the ones that did, those were the more lucky ones.
I feel like what this story shows is the captain is sitting down and treating the spirit as an equal and also giving the offering of the wine as if it's an equal person. That's the story, is like, give good sacraments to your spirit or you might die at sea, basically.
Yeah.
It seems like it becomes like a personal servitor for the ship.
Yeah, especially if it likes the captain, right? Then they can work together.
Hell yeah.
But if you'd like to hear the second half of our episode where we talk about other equally strange but prolific superstitions, then please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your monthly donation of just $5 would not only earn you the second extended half of this show, which you can binge on your fishing boat of choice. I'll send you a 5x5 high quality vinyl sticker of our Big Bunny Baphomet cover to your land-lubbing address or P.O. box, where you can retrieve it and put it on your boat, which is really, really good luck. Actually, it's not, because rabbits are bad luck on boats, so I'm lying to you. But Baphomet is good luck for Templars, and Templars are the first pirates, so it's good luck! Just make it up as you go, I don't know. Anyway, I'll even give you instantaneous access to our secret Discord server, where you can talk to us about all the weird superstitions that you abide by, which if you don't, a bunch of bad things happen, because I know that there are some of you out there, and we're not going to judge you for being superstitious.
I will.
Okay, Tim will. Thank you, everybody. Eat carrots, shoot lasers.
Pew, pew, pew.
Pew pew!